The stock car racing trial of the century is here, but you may not know it if you live outside of the NASCAR bubble. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Happy Monday, folks. The first day of the NASCAR antitrust trial is wrapping up as we speak. We'll talk about that and more in just a moment, but it is Monday. Happy Cyber Monday from my friends at Forney Industries. Forney is the trusted name behind welders, abrasives, PPE, and shop essentials for over 90 years. And we are in the final hours of their free with purchase event at ForneyInd.com. It's simple. The more you spend, the more free gear you get. At $100, you earn welding gloves. At $200, you're upgraded to a trickle charger. At $300, an angle grinder. And the value keeps climbing all the way up to a free retractable air hose reel at $600 plus. This special deal wraps up tomorrow, December 2nd, so now is the time to make your move before the checkered flag. The link down in the description will take you right to their special offers page. You can also head to ForneyInd.com. Thank you to Forney Industries for supporting the show. All right, I have a couple of things I could talk about. Let's just start with the lawsuit. That's what everyone's talking about today. As I'm recording this afternoon, both sides are wrapping up their opening arguments. We'll talk about whatever comes from those arguments, likely in tomorrow's video. I believe I'm also hopping on a live stream with The Iceberg here later tonight, so be sure to tune in. But I had a couple other thoughts I wanted to share right off the bat before things get moving too far along. And if you missed it this morning, I posted a 10-minute get up to speed trial preview. Go check that out in case you missed it. But today was primarily about selecting the jury. 9 jurors were selected total, 6 primary jurors. There will be 3 alternates. Based on what I had read and heard from others in and around the industry, I think there was some speculation that the juror selection process could take a while, could take much of the first day. If you think about it, the case is happening in North Carolina, Michael Jordan, UNC, NASCAR, their Hall of Fame is right there in the heart of Charlotte. High-profile parties with notable ties to the area. It may be difficult to find unbiased jurors, but I think the answer to that question is no. They had the jury selected well before lunch. I'm pretty sure Whataburger was still serving breakfast. They could have gotten themselves a honey butter chicken biscuit on the way out. Do they have Whataburger in North Carolina yet? If not, I'm sure it's coming soon. Reporter Jeff Gluck on location noted that only 3 of the 23 potential jurors who were interviewed knew about this case, and that only 3 potential jurors considered themselves race fans. Reporter Michael Massey shared a funny note that one potential juror said that he used to watch NASCAR, but then the judge pretty quickly asked him to leave. But yeah, only 3 of the potential jurors knew about this case. Now, I'm not sure what other work may have been done preemptively to whittle a larger group down to those 23, but still, that surprised me a bit. And it leads me to my point. This is the first day 1, of this massive trial that could change NASCAR, could change the American motorsports landscape forever. This is probably the most important legal case in NASCAR's 77-plus year history. Everyone in the industry, from fans to media, are talking about it, are reading about it, are posting about it, writing about it. But I've yet to see anything outside of the NASCAR bubble. And I've checked the neutral Twitter or X trending tab several times today. When you scroll over to the sports tab, I've seen Michael Jordan's name here and there, but that's it. I logged on to ESPN.com this afternoon, took a screenshot of the homepage. Not a single mention of NASCAR, Jordan, the lawsuit, anywhere. To be fair, maybe Marty Smith, one of their few NASCAR guys, is still trapped at Ole Miss. But my point is, I remember a year ago, in the still early days of this legal battle, talking to folks in the industry, reading what people had to say, talking to you fans in the comments, in person, and the prevailing theory was that if this goes to trial, Can you imagine the headlines? Can you imagine seeing Michael Jordan and Jim France sitting across from each other in the courtroom? Can you imagine what they'll write? Michael Jordan takes NASCAR to court. Can you imagine the damage that would do to NASCAR's public image? That was the hypothetical we all talked about a year ago. Well, we're here. It's no longer hypothetical. It is real. It is happening. Those headlines exist. But they have yet to breach beyond the NASCAR bubble, in my opinion, from what I have seen. And I have two takeaways from that. First, in some ways, this is a snap back to reality for fans of the sport, for the industry itself, for folks like myself who are extremely passionate about stock car racing. I'm sure many of you passionate about it as well if you're watching this video. Naturally, when us humans have something we really like, typically we want to share it with others. We hope other people will like the thing we are passionate about as well. For example, a few weeks ago, I made my wife sit down and play through the first level of Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus, my favorite childhood video game, because I wanted to share it with her. I wanted her to enjoy it. I'm not sure if she did. I think she'd rather have been playing Animal Crossing. But what I'm saying is that one of my main goals of this show is to share NASCAR, something I grew up with, one of my favorite sports, to share it with as many people as possible. And so the fact that ESPN.com hasn't done a single write-up today is a reminder that NASCAR is very niche. Most sports are. Football's not. Football, college pro, very mainstream. Basketball, most of the year in America, mainstream. Baseball, fairly mainstream, at least in October. NASCAR is not mainstream. It'll pop into the mainstream from time to time, usually when there's dramatic controversy, Daytona 500 perhaps. But that's about it. I was reminded of this somewhat deflating post from the Sports Media Watch account a couple weeks back. They said, quote, "The proof that NASCAR might never break into mainstream sports TV talk is that they've been in a bitter, prolonged legal war with Michael Jordan, and I'm not sure anyone outside of racing is following it." They were exactly correct 2 weeks ago when they wrote that, and they are even more correct today now that the trial has actually begun. This lawsuit, it feels like, still hasn't left the NASCAR bubble. And that's my second takeaway, is that the longer that this case stays within that bubble, the longer NASCAR may be willing to fight it. We know that NASCAR, the suits, really wanted to settle this case. They tried their darndest, especially at the end of October, but to no avail. But for the time being, as long as this case is still fairly contained, I think they'll keep fighting it out. The internal damage has already been done for the most part. Those texts about Richard Childress, the unsavory messages about some of the smaller teams, NASCAR executives already have their work cut out for them trying to mend those relationships in the future, trying to mend the relationships with some of the hardcore fans who likely were turned off or alienated by those revealed messages. But so far, I don't think there's been much external damage. Sure, some prospective sponsors and partners perhaps have been a little wary about getting into the sport right now, watching this case play out from afar. But for years, NASCAR has been battling tooth and nail to attract a new manufacturer, and Ram finally bit. In the middle of all this lawsuit, Ram announced that they're returning. Didn't slow them down, didn't turn them away, apparently. So that's my second takeaway. Right now, the damage that has been done as a result of this lawsuit is largely internal. And I think it's going to take some real external damage to put real pressure on NASCAR to get back to the settlement table and maybe cave to a few more of the team's demands. But we'll see. Obviously, letting this go on day after day is a risk. There's always the chance that things could become explosive in the courtroom. Perhaps there is still evidence or exhibits from either side that could shake things up in a dramatic way, could make national news headlines. We'll see. We shall see. But those are just some of my thoughts observing the coverage of this first day of trial. That'll do it for tonight's episode, folks. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more NASCAR discussion every single day, even throughout the off-season. Really appreciate your support. Again, I think I'm hopping on a live stream tonight on the Iceberg. If not, you'll see me tomorrow. We'll talk more lawsuit, more coverage. Hopefully we'll have some guests on the show in the future as well, so you're not just listening to me yapping the whole time. But that's going to do it. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'll catch you again real soon.